Still starting. All right. We're here live on channel Rocky Point, or as I like to say, Rocky Point. And we're just waiting for everybody to kind of show up, showing that we're broadcasting. I have with me Bobby and Zac. Go ahead and say a few things, guys. Let them know you're here.
That's the first
What's
time
going on?
That's the first time I've ever been introduced first.
Usually
That's so weird.
Usually it's the exact other way around.
Yeah.
That is strange.
Thank you. That makes me feel like
you know, I'm here to do a service to you, Bobby. So no.
You want alphabetically.
Yes.
Someone's here for you.
Yeah, alphabetically. I was thinking smart, right? Yeah. Okay. I almost got that college degree.
Backcast.
Also, for you viewers at home that are, well, all of you are at home, I hope. I'll look this way sometimes. Bobby and Zac are also in front of me here, but I also turn to my left because my computer is hosting the whole live stream over here. So if you see this happening, this is why. And I've got this lovely decor that looks really fancy, but it's actually just a keyboard stand raised all the way up with my cadet's jacket draped over it and this Shako that someone won at a U.S. Bands event and then gave to me. So
it looks good. That. I mean, Bobby, do you have anything cadets with you?
I have a hat over there.
Where?
You're standing right next to it. It's my 2015 hat because I have no idea where the other two are.
There you go.
Hey, there we go.
The drum shell.
Right.
The team-member hat.
Or my candle, my Spock candle holder.
Yeah, sure.
Get that. The drum was from 2011 cadets, and I used the whole candles.
Oh, that's awesome.
Whoa, that's really cool looking. I'm jealous. You beat me. I got a Shako and a jacket, but like you've got an actual like piece of cadets history.
Sweet.
Yeah, call me an artist.
All right.
So yeah, hopefully my phone doesn't freak out. It's been.
I have the questions, but not the answers.
Okay.
We've got a few. We've got up to 7 people watching right now. I think we can start.
Awesome.
Yeah. So if you're joining us or just joining us, we're here interviewing Zac and Bobby, or Bobby and Zac, whoever you want to put first to make them feel special. They are in charge of the they're in charge of the new 2018 Cadets vlogging series this summer. And I thought it appropriate to bring them on so you guys, my viewers, can kind of get to know them and you can watch them this summer. And here's some questions. There'll also be a Q&A at the end if you want to type out any questions, and hopefully I will remember to look at those. But yeah, so let's start with the first question. So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about each of you, kind of, you know, your core background, how you guys came together to be like a duo, and just everything about that.
Sure. Should I go first?
Yeah, do you want to start, or do you want to start with me because I started sooner?
You go ahead and start.
All right, well, I started in 2014 with Minicore, which is the feeder for DCA, if no one understands what that is. I started with Thunder Brigade, which was a big mess because it was new. So they didn't really know what they were doing. So after Thunder Brigade, I went to a camp for Cadets 2 in 2015. Zac wasn't there yet. He still was new. So marching that year, I was just like, this is something I want to keep going with. So I went back and I got to meet Zac, which is interesting to say the least. Very interesting to say the least. This man introduced himself by just going, "I'm Zac," and then everyone just collectively moved on to the next person.
Yep, it worked out really well.
It was bizarre to say the least. So we go through that season. We had a great season. We become 2016 champs, which was awesome. Got basically first in everything, which was really cool. And then I came back in 2017 with Zac on the same instrument, which is pretty boss.
It was awesome. Yeah, we had a great 2017. So yeah, I like Bobby said, I started in 2016, and then I went on to March C2 in 2017. So 2016, 2017 for Cadets 2. And then this year for 2018, of course, because of the vlogs and everything, as you know, I'm going to be marching for 2018. What are you going to school for?
I'm going to school for telecommunications. focused on radio and television. Because I like doing this a lot, and I want to be a radio personality. I want to be a voice.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting.
And I grew up a lot around computers and stuff, so naturally I'm going to college for computer science, but I still always want to keep my creative side going, so I'm doing tons of film along with Bobby. As many chances as I get. Bobby and I want to do some film stuff, and it's great. So yeah, I met you in 16, and in 17 we decided to start a podcast, right?
It didn't really come out that way. We were just like, we were kind of just talking like the morning after a camp. We were just like telling each other how we wanted to do like something with YouTube. Like we were like, oh, we both want to start like our own kind of like channels on YouTube, and we were like, why don't we just do it together? And then I think you asked me like, what should we call ourselves? And I was just like, Zac, Bobby, Zob. And then you're like, oh my God. So that's how we got our name, and then we didn't know what to do. So we were just like, why don't we just talk in general about anything? So that kind of evolved into talking about drum corps stuff. But as we did the show, we didn't want to limit ourselves to just drum corps. So now we're just kind of like a show where we just do anything we want.
Yeah, so we kind of progressed to a full film production group early 2018, I'd say. And then from that, we started doing our talk show that we have running on our YouTube channel, and we also have we did some vlog stuff. Bobby does his own vlogs, and now it was only necessary that we had the time to create this new vlog series for the cadets, and it's great. It's an awesome opportunity.
Well, that's fantastic. I mean, it sounds like you guys have worked together for quite a bit of time. You have a great drum corps background, and I'm super excited to see what the rest of this season holds in the inaugural season of the Cadets Vlogs for the Zob cast. Zob, Zac, Bobby, whatever you're officially labeling the vlogs as, or whatever you have that subtitle as. And I know there are many other alumni that are super excited about it. And that kind of brings me to the next question, assuming that I remember the exact order that they're in. Oh, no, I was thinking of question 3. We'll move on anyway. We've hopefully all seen this trailer. If not, there'll be a link in the description after this is all said and done. But I'm here to ask you, what is your personal goals with this new vlog series with the cadets this season? What do you think is the overarching impact you're going to have with this?
Well, going way far back before I ever marched cadets, this is from me, and I'm sure that you probably have a similar kind of had a similar like outside perspective at this point. We saw the cadets as something inhuman, like robots. You know?
Yeah, I saw them as amazing performers that I wanted to aspire to. And then when I went to the first camp, I was just like, they aren't robots like everyone hears, because they're just people.
Yeah.
But since I had never been there, I was just like, this is really unobtainable right now.
Since you don't see that side, you don't see the member side too well, it scares anyone from auditioning if they don't actually know what they're going for. And
yeah, Zac, I was in the same boat. When I was auditioning in 2013, I actually went somewhere else to audition first. It was a little bit closer to home. I hated the experience. I was like, I'll just be a fan the rest of my life. It'll be fine. Band director voluntold me to go up to try out cadets because he had marched cadets, and they were not robots, like you said. That is the facade we had back in whenever it was. And I think I'm gathering that you and I are on the same pages, is that we wanted to break down that kind of misconception.
Yeah. And as well as like, you know, humanizing the cadets, it also gives the members a chance to have a voice, you know? So bringing it up, a lot has happened in this past month, especially. And with that, I've seen so many cadets, past and present, that stood up and really showed like their immense dedication. And I saw it on Facebook. You know, I saw a little bit on Twitter. I'm not too Twitter savvy. I know there was probably a lot more. But it was really from like one standpoint. Like a lot of people it wasn't really documented that well. All of the reports that were coming out weren't really talking so much about how the members were coming together and still staying dedicated to everything. You know, it was more just talking about everything bad that was happening, you know?
Yeah, even going to like the camp to visit him this past weekend, the lineage of veterans from cadets that came back went all the way to 1969.
Yeah,
that was amazing to me. Even though I could just lean over and I'd just see people standing, and they were not like even close to the same age as us. They were like retired. Like they definitely had grandkids that were probably even thinking about marching. It was insane. I was glad I actually went to that camp, even to just visit and even for that meeting.
Well, what I'm really happy for this new vlog series coming out is we didn't expect this to happen. We started these vlogs. Well, we started production of the vlogs like early back at the beginning of the season when I went to my first audition camp, all the way back then, and you really get to see that change when it comes between seasons. The first season takes place in all the winter camps before anything ever happened, and then right after that, everything just starts changing. And it's crazy, but in that change, you get to see how people can come together and, you know, make something beautiful out of any situation.
I think even going back to content we posted before, you can go see like the Cadets 2 vlogs. And that's where Zac really got the idea to do this. So you could see we started on like a random, like just some random day, not even close to like auditioning. We were already there. We were already just like rehearsing. We already had drama because like things weren't going very well. And you can just see like things progressing through that season. And then like whenever the camera was off, Zac was just like, I think this is a good idea. Like we should keep doing like Cadets vlogs or something like this.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I know he's going to keep doing it, so it's fine. I don't need to say anything to him.
Yeah.
And then
well, that's great.
Off season, I was just like, we should start something else. So I just started doing videos online. So that's why I started like the Bob vlogs. And I assume at the end, when we're both aged out, Zac's going to start his own like vlog series.
Yeah, we're just going to keep going. You know,
I mean, if I'm an example, you just keep milking it as long as you possibly can, trying to make relevant content.
Oh yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's 3 years post age out, so yeah, here we grow. But yeah, that's super exciting, and I completely agree. From the outside, there wasn't a whole lot of press about what the cadets were doing. Like I know all of that went down right before you guys had that first April camp, was it? Or is it the end of March? What was that?
There was an April camp like immediately after the news went out, like that weekend, and that was for brass. So I know that they got together. They did. All that I really saw was that they played the For Holy Name, and that was about it that I heard from that camp. But we just had a full audition camp this past weekend, which was really we saw how the new board's handling everything. We saw we saw a lot of really good things. You know.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. I think the general consensus is, like you were saying, it is the end of an era, but it's the start of something that's even more amazing. If you think back to like 9/11, right? Like it was absolutely terrible. It's a tragedy. But America came together, and I kind of feel like, not to like say that 9/11 was comparable to what happened, like it's different tragedies, right? Yeah. But in a similar vein, like there is good that comes out of extreme bad. And I think like there's so many alumni I see on the pages on like Facebook that are coming back to the cadets. They're coming home just because of all the changes and the great things that are going to happen this season. And I have no doubt that this vlog is going to be a part of that. And I can't wait to see what is going to happen, and also find you guys somewhere on the road eventually and actually see everybody in person.
Can't wait for that, man. That's going to be exciting.
It's going to be awesome. And while you're here, tell us the name of the new show. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't do that. So next question. Actually, I think we kind of answered this one, didn't we? When did you decide this is what we're going to do? You kind of already answered that. You got any more comments on that, or is that about?
Yeah. So we started doing the whole vlogging thing in C2 in 2017, and yeah, like Bobby said, it just kind of started happening because of the whole podcast thing. At one point, our friend and also another member of the Zobcast, Alex Pavic, he marched in 16 with us, but he didn't march 17. And I think he's back in C2 for 2018. He's playing drum set. He told us a lot about media over the 16 season because, you know, there was the whole Clash of the Chorus thing out. But he also talked about, Rocky Point Vlogs. He talked about the Cadets Drumline video series. Yeah. and, yeah. And we were like, Cadets 2 needs something.
Yeah. I just feel like Cadets 2 kind of gets the short end of the stick on the on that kind of aspect.
It's sad, but it's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we started filming, we had a blast, of course. And when we got to Cadets, it was just like, well, looks like we need to do it again,
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I've watched a few of those back in the C2 vlog days, and I've seen, like, I've gotten to get a sneak peek, if you will, of the premiere of season 1 of this new vlog series, and it is incredible. It's so similar but so new. It's like someone renovated your childhood home and you're going back into it. That's the kind of thing that I'm feeling with this. So that's fantastic. Kind of going off of the question board for a second, just so everybody at home kind of understands. So there are 2 of you. So how is the vlogging experience going to work? I think like, who's doing the filming, who's doing the editing, like, what's involved with all that, and how you got, or what you did to get clearance with YEA and everything, and all that whole process. I think people are interested in that.
All right. Well, so Bobby and I are both working on the production together.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's such a big production. I have like a drive behind my computer that has 8 terabytes of space on it.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
all waiting for some delicious content that I can gather.
I mean, this giant thing.
Yeah, this guy right here. That's our 8 terabyte hard drive.
Yeah,
be careful with it.
I can feel it gyrating like when I go like this.
Yeah, it's menacing, and after all that footage is collected, it's just going to be like, how can one man deal with it? One man can't. And we did the vlogs. I know he's not marching with me this year. It's just me marching, but there's no reason why it's like a series we can't work on together. Mm-hmm. That being said, since I'm going to be around and Bobby's going to be kind of like away from our home area, I'm going to be doing most of the filming. And it's mostly going to revolve around me and my vlogs and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's more about Zac's journey through the entire cadet experience, while also dual riding with that journey is trying to make cadets and the people in the vlog seem more human and less robotic.
Yeah.
So if people ever wonder, like, what's a cadet being like, you could just show them this video, like the video series.
It'd be great for like musical educators and band directors too. So for example,
yeah, you told me a lot of them were like talking to you about this.
Yeah, people who want to show drum corps to the kids, mm-hmm. to all those kids that are coming up and learning. I know you used to teach, mm-hmm. right? And I still teach at West Shore, and I see all these kids, and I'm just like, this person could easily be in drum corps, but I ask them, and they give me an example like, oh, well, cadets is a cult.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it's just the fear. It's the fear that stops them. Once you break the fear, then you're like unstoppable. You just have to have enough courage to go to the camp and be hurt.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because even if you get cut, you still have more strength than what you started with.
And you have a better idea of where to go.
You also have a better idea for you if that's really what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's great, and that's a brilliant thing. I mean, I'm going into music education. I mean, I have a band director job interview tomorrow. And I'm graduating with my music education degree on Friday. So as a future music educator, this is something that I agree, like, needs to be shown to kids. Like, they see performances all the time, and they're like, wow, these are professionals. In reality, when I was in high school, I had no idea that these were like college age kids that were pretty much almost my age, maybe a year or two older, doing this activity. And as I got closer to graduating high school, I was like, well, maybe I can do this, but I really don't know what they're like what's the atmosphere actually like versus what they present like in a performance. So I'd search around, and there were a few videos here or there, and that kind of inspired what I started, and then has like continued to grow in this new age of technology and super awesome smartphone cameras and all sorts of crazy stuff. And I sound really old saying all of that, but I talked to I talked to adults that were like, oh yeah, you guys are so lucky. When I had to march, we had to go line up at the payphone to call our moms and all of this stuff. Like, it was everybody would run for a payphone. But yeah, that's super exciting. So we've seen two types of vlog series out of the cadets so far. We've seen Rocky Point Vlog, shameless plug, and Cadets Drumline video series, both of which were very, you know, short, kind of like impromptu, like this is what is happening, we're having fun, hope you enjoyed the 5-minute to 40-second video depending on how the day is going. And they were like, I would say almost every day. Like my goal was to do at least one video a day. They were all kind of labeled days. Tony did more of like sporadic, like 40 seconds here, because it started on Instagram with him.
Yep.
And that grew popularity really quickly. How will this differ from either of those two? Like I said, I mentioned briefly it being more like your childhood home has been renovated. How would you describe your vlog style and process compared to those two that people are already familiar with?
Well, obviously, from what we've been talking about, we've been planning this series for like how long?
I think from the beginning of Cadets 2, like that vlog series, to basically now. Even though that's like already coming out, you're still like, what can I do?
Yeah. I'm always stressing over how you can make something that already exists. How can you improve upon it?
Improve.
You know, how can you take, say, vlogging, for example, all vloggers. How can you make a vlog more enjoyable to people watching? How can you make it something that people will want to wake up to and see a new episode and say, oh my gosh, I have to see that right now. I put a lot of, when I do film, I put a lot of filmic elements in the film. So instead of it being just vlog stuff, say, hey, I'm doing a vlog here, right? There's some points where you can end up losing a little bit of footage, because there are going to be points where you cannot always vlog. There are going to be some points when, say, I'm out on the field, right? And I don't have my camera on me, and something happens, and then I'm like,
I
dang!
remember a prime example.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, remember that thunderstorm when your camera was dead?
Yes. In C2, for example, my camera died, and there was lightning that struck literally like maybe like 30 feet away from our rehearsal location. And it was extremely scary, and it was right when my camera died. And if I got that on the vlog, I would have been so much happier.
We were in the middle of putting tarps on top of our instruments. We were going to like calmly go in, and then the lightning struck, and everyone was like, get inside! Yeah. So we were just like, deuces, and we let go of everything. The wind blows everything over. And I was like, we're going to need new everything.
Yeah. So naturally, what would happen is you would go back in, and you would get on the vlog and be like, so this happened, and you talk about it, you know? But I kind of felt like I really love story. You know, if I watch something, I want to get a story out of it. You know, that's how I edit. I want to take the viewers along for a ride, right? And if something gets missed, I will recreate it. I will try my best to make sure that it fits into the story. So, for example, the intro of our pilot is a huge character building moment. Yeah, that I'm talking about it. You guys haven't seen it yet. It's coming out this Friday.
They'll understand.
Yeah.
Soon.
I told him about it. I like had to praise Zac for it, because it's cinematic. It's very cinematic. It doesn't look like it's filmed for a vlog. It looks like it's filmed for something that you're going to like pay $11 for, like a movie. Ticket. Yeah. But the great part that I love about it is the ability to keep the reality of it at the same time. That can sometimes get a little difficult, but from editing and from working through some of these episodes, I've started to get it like down to a pinpoint where there's just a little bit of filmic element that can tie everything together, when at the same time you still feel like you're in that reality of this is actually the Cadets Vlogs. I actually had the pleasure of picking up some current cadets. Because our rehearsal location for this past camp was near my house, so we picked some people up from the airport, and they kind of hung around. And I showed them the pilot episode, and a couple of them said it's like Rocky Point on steroids.
That's
which is
cool.
Of course, amazing to hear, especially because of how great Rocky Point was alone. You know?
Oh, just stop. I mean. Keep going. I mean, I really do.
Are you tearing up?
The work's great. Don't look at me. I'm just an old dried up has-been. No,
no, you're not. You're a huge inspiration for us to start. I hope you know that.
Oh, well, thank you. I really am flattered in all seriousness. I never thought that it would get as big as it did. I was just kind of like, my name's kind of punny, and I want to show people what this is actually like, if nothing else, just to kind of, because my first season I was kind of having myself, so I didn't really think about it. But when I started in 2014, before we ever began, I was like, I want to show people what this is actually like, because I couldn't find anything like it. And I was like, well, I used to do these kinds of things in high school, and it was all right. So let's just see what happens and make it goofy and make it fun, and it just kind of blew up from there. I have a story probably to tell later, but I mean, it's crazy the people that would recognize me at shows or take a picture or donate to tour fees. And I didn't expect or really desire any of that when it began. It was really all about journaling through a video, because that's something they had really talked about the first season I was there, was journaling. And also humanizing the cadets a little bit more, and seeing all the, how did I describe it when I came back from my first camp? We're just a bunch of misfits that play really well together. Like, it's just this eclectic group of goofballs that just like playing music and playing well together. And that's what I loved most about it.
Couldn't have been said any better, man. That's exactly how it is. And it's great. It's like, you could easily like write a sitcom out of it if you really wanted to. You know, a lot of crazy stuff happens that you just like, you go through and you're like, other people need to see this. You know,
this doesn't happen outside of a tour bus or in the real world, out of drum corps. This stuff doesn't happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So people kind of know what to expect. And I'm super pumped for that first episode to be released on Friday. You got like a time-ish you're publishing it? Is it early, late?
We're releasing it at 6 p.m. EST.
All right, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, as I am looking at my iPad, trying to look at the
I broke Zac.
You broke me.
I broke Zac with a dumb joke. I said we're going to release it once every hour.
Once every hour. Okay. Speaking of those once every hour, what's the release schedule going to be like for these vlogs? Because you're not doing an everyday thing; it's more kind of produced in like you said, a storyline throughout. So what are you kind of going for release schedule wise?
So for the first episode, comes out, of course, this Friday, May 4th, 4:34. I get it.
Hey, yeah, puns.
Dumber than mine.
So yeah, at 6 p.m. EST. After that, the first season will be posted every Friday at 6 after the release. And then the second season, which is going to be containing the majority of the upcoming spring training, it'll begin in the fall after the season is concluded. But until then, what do we have?
Oh, we have the Zob Show stuff, which is what we mainly do together. We have my stuff that'll come out whenever I have enough footage to actually post something. Because there's a normal range of time I like to stick within, like 4 to 5 minutes. And if I can't get that, I'm not going to post anything because I won't feel like it's good enough to post, which is really annoying because if I don't like something and I post it, it always looks great for some reason. Like that last one I posted. Yeah, and you were like, this is so good. I don't know.
So between those times since there's like a huge season gap, and since we're putting so much into production, since we're going to have to wait so long for the fall for the second season to come out after the first season, we just have some stuff that people tend to enjoy a little bit, some goofy stuff, some crude stuff that we're just going to post throughout the time that I'm on tour getting film, and so on and so on. And there'll be some for the next few seasons after that, there will be small little gaps. But for all of the season, for the whole tour, I plan to get all of the 2018 season out before the 2019 tour. So, yeah.
Great. I think people will realize it is more than worth the wait for everything that's going to be happening. So awesome. Let's see. Next question. Okay, these are starting to okay, well, no, there's one more kind of like this. So we kind of touched on it a little bit. So after everything went down with leadership, how did you have to change your approach to like your plan to release these initially?
That's a really good question.
I think you're going about this pretty well.
Yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult. At the time, I had no idea that I would be releasing the vlogs on May 4th. So come early April, right? I was like, all right, I got all this footage. I'm just going to collect it all. And then once I'm done with the footage, then I'll start releasing some stuff. But after everything went down, I looked back through my footage, and I had a ton of Hopkins footage. I had a ton of footage that I didn't want to use anymore. Yeah, we just weren't so comfortable with using that kind of footage at the time. Luckily, production hadn't started yet, which was good because our original plan was to have the whole series post in the fall. But from what happened, we felt that it was absolutely necessary to start cramming this stuff out, right? So that's why I said, all right, we're going to pick a date, right? We got May 4th going. We said, all right, I already got this first pilot done. It's great. And now we can finish out the rest of the series, and that's where we are now. And we're about to start getting that stuff posted. And it's great.
Can I attempt to explain kind of what you did?
Sure.
So you were originally planning to have George Hopkins as like something like a character, right?
Yeah.
But you kind of morphed it after you heard about all this stuff and all this stuff went down. You kind of changed him from a character or a sub character to like an entity. Yeah. So he still exists and he's still there, but you're not showing it like who he is. You're just hearing his voice.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
he's more like a narrator, but you can see his body but not his face. So I think that was more interesting because he kind of helps shove the plot along. Because you're savvy for plot.
Yeah, because I mean, it's not like we can erase someone from existence. You know,
he still exists. He was a part of it at that time, so he kind of still needs to be in it to let the plot keep going. But you don't want to deal with the backlash, so you kind of just turn him from one thing to something else that helps you. And
if you watch the season, I think you'd be able to agree that it's done really well.
Yeah, I completely agree. From the premiere, it seemed like, I mean, it was handled very, very well. It felt like you said, Bobby, that he is more of an entity and not like a main character or something. He's just kind of there. And like you said, we can't erase, the past however many years it's been. But we know what has been. We have learned from those mistakes, and we're moving forward as as an organization. I'm not necessarily a part of the organization anymore, but it has been a big part of my life. And I'm not just saying because he was there. Like people that were there when he was there, we can't say that like the experiences we had were not it just because he was. Yeah. Right? It doesn't change anything that we felt at the time, or any of the lessons we've learned. So we just we have to be able to divide and kind of compartmentalize those parts of our experience. And again, like I said, it was handled really well in the premiere that I got to see. So going forward to a little more, I would say, joyful kind of topics. What are you most looking forward to about this summer, Zac? I know the West Coast tour is kind of out now, but what are you most looking forward to now?
Well, originally I would have probably said, the West Coast tour. We literally just found out about it this past camp. We were the first to know, and then like not too long later, it went public. It was a little disappointing, but at the same time, it's not, because it's what had to be done, and the opportunity for us to start something new kind of arose out of it. We're setting the stone for everyone in front of us is basically what we're doing as this year's cadets, because everything is changing. We're going to be the guinea pigs for a lot of different things. But all in all, I'm just really looking forward to having my first tour, meeting people, seeing new sights, playing for an audience, right? The entire core of the season is really putting every little bit of emotion they have into the music. And because of that, the season is going to be one of the best. It's going to be emotional, progressive, inspiring. It's going to be one of the most insane seasons that the Cadets 2018, the Cadets in general, have ever had.
Rightfully so. And I think I remember seeing there was somebody else. I was in a group chat somewhere with some older cadet folk, and I think we had maybe one person who's still marching, and they're like, well, we're just going to have to work our butts off now. And I was like, no different from any other season. The cadets are going to work crazy hard, if not harder than before. And I'm super stoked. I don't think there's going to be anyone that doesn't give a standing ovation finals night after everything that has happened to see you guys get that far. Just everything. I'm super happy to see this new direction. So, and no doubt there'll be emotion behind it. I'll be emotional. I'll be just sitting up there in the stands. So, it'll be great. Can't wait. I guess we kind of did the insert discussion of New Rally of Alumni kind of with everything that has happened up to this point. So on to a more question that I think a lot of other people are wondering about for themselves. Why should anyone even remotely consider doing drum corps or going to audition? I know you hear like things that like, oh, it costs too much. Oh, I can't play brass percussion or spin a flag. Like, what would you say to those people that say that they're remotely considering it? Like, what should they do to try to be a part of this? Should they give up? What is your advice?
You learn so much just by going there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even funny how much you end up learning.
I think the experience is unparalleled to anything else.
It is. If you've never had an experience like a drum corps audition, it's life-changing, for sure. Because, people who recommend drum corps to people say like, oh, you're really good, Some of these kids who got to try out for drum corps go in there thinking that they're like a really, 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 really good player. And they get there and realize that there are also other really, 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 really good players. And they realize that, they kind of have to step up their game, step up their attitude. They realize how they can improve themselves even better just by seeing people who have been doing the exact same thing they've been doing. And it's crazy. Do you want to talk about how we first started?
How together we both started?
Yeah, we never knew we were going to make it.
Yeah, I could. Even in 2015 when I first started, my first instrument isn't like a percussion instrument. I started playing saxophone.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea I was going to make it. I went into my audition for C2 after I noticed I was not going to make cadets because I was not good enough, which wasn't heartbreaking. I already knew that. I was just like, let's see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to my audition for C2, and they asked me what instrument I play in band class, and I say, oh, I play the alto saxophone, and they go, oh, send the next guy in. And I was just like, did I make it? Did I not make it? They haven't told me anything. So I'm leaving, and I'm like, what just happened? Mm-hmm. So I send the next guy in, and I'm just playing kind of half-assed because I'm like, I don't know if I should keep trying, but I was just like, whatever, I'll just keep going. I started playing a little more confidently. And then I found out randomly that I was just given a contract, and I was like, that's it.
That's it.
I made it.
I did it. I've done it. Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I became a member. And I was just like,
and that right there teaches you that consistency is the answer to life. Confidence. You got to keep coming back. Because I remember going to my first audition camps and thinking, I'm probably not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know why I even go back. When in reality, all I had was nothing to go off of,
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, when you have nothing to go off of, you just want to find out, and no one gives you any status updates because sometimes even the instructors don't know. But just because you keep going back, you start to realize that your consistency, your dedication, that's all you needed in the first place to go out and march drum corps. Even if you say don't march a certain instrument, or say you play a woodwind and you can't march because your woodwind isn't in drum corps. You just gotta go. If you're new to an instrument, like if you're picking something up and you're thinking maybe you can march it, but you're too scared because you think you might not be good. There are people in C2 who only had played their instrument for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of it, they're amazing. It's like they've been playing it for years.
Yeah.
It's like having an extreme private lesson for an entire summer.
Mm-hmm. It's just that level that you're already being introduced to. So you're not being taught hot cross buns. You're being taught an entire piece.
Exactly.
And that piece has so many different types of aspects that you use all the time as a musician, and just learning the tips and tricks instead of like the basics. So you can just sort of like, instead of just going through that straight line, you're going around that entire thing. So it just like the learning curve is so much different because you're learning the easiest thing instead of like the normal way.
Yeah, for sure. And for money, for like the cost of it, one of my favorite things that I like to say is, well, okay, so say you make a drum corps, and then the only thing standing between you marching that drum corps is paying for tour, your tuition fee. And it costs a lot. Like we can't just walk around it. It's expensive. You know, it's hard to find a cheap drum corps that also gives you the kind of quality that you want to get out of drum corps. You know, but then you start thinking about, okay, how much money would I be spending over a summer if I weren't marching drum corps? And then you start thinking about gas. Then you start thinking about food. Then you start thinking about just random payments that you'd make, right? And then you start to realize, you start to do numbers in your head, and you're like, I'm actually saving money going on tour with a drum corps, as opposed to not going on tour and just living my life. Because, for example, the cadets, they feed you, they house you, you don't have to worry about gas, you don't have to worry about driving. They have your entire life for those 3 months there.
Yeah,
that's their life.
Isn't the only thing you pay for is like laundry?
Yeah, like
it's like what?
And that's
and anything else you pick up on a free day, which is once in a blue moon at the cadets. So
so you're not going to be spending money while you're on tour, not very much at least. So when you do the math, you'll probably end up realizing that it would be more expensive for you to not go on tour.
Yeah. In a similar fashion, like I remember towards the end of my experience, I was like, I'm doing this for like the third time, and I'm like, I could just stay home, like that'd be cool, right? And then I think to myself, well, if I was at home, what would I be doing? I'd be sitting on the couch being bored out of my mind. It's like when you have a lot of stuff to do in the school year, and then you finally get to summer break after drum corps, and you're like, oh, well, it was fun for the first few days, but now I'm bored out of my mind. Can we get something regularly scheduled going on? And that's when I was like, okay, I'll tough it out at drum corps, and it's gonna be fantastic. And it was. I've learned so much from. If I dare to say it, I think the fact that I'm in music education, my future in this job, in this career, is because of what drum corps has done. And as a young teacher, it's amazing some of the things I've learned that some veteran teachers haven't learned, that maybe haven't done this activity. So don't, like they said, don't let money stand in your way. There are plenty of different kind of fundraising things you can do. GoFundMe. You can ask local businesses to sponsor you. Sometimes they're more than happy to do that if you kind of sit down and explain what's going on. Just never say never. There's always, for those people that never want to give up, there's always a way to do this activity. So anything else to add, gentlemen?
No, I think that's about it. I think we put that to bed. It's really just now, if you have all of that information in front of you and you start to realize, okay, maybe I can do this thing. It's just got to be like, all right, well, if you want to make it, you got to be committed. You got to say,
all you have to do is get out of your comfort zone and be confident with yourself. You have to just believe in yourself, honestly.
Yeah.
Or my favorite phrase is that I used when I was first starting teaching cadets. Pretty much life. This is my life motto: is just fake it till you make it. Just go after it, and whatever happens, happens. And then you learn from it, and you become a better human being, musician, whatever it is, because of it. So now on to one of the toughest questions. Even if I was asked this, I think I'd struggle with it. So good thing I'm asking it and not having to answer it. How and when did you know Cadets was home?
You're gonna make me answer it first.
If you want to think about it, I'll answer it first.
I mean, you kind of mentioned this, and Zach also read it to me before we even started this. But I think we both agree that cadets became home when we made friends at in anything really.
Yeah.
Like the second you have someone to talk to, you just feel more at home. You feel more comfortable. You can loosen up.
Mm-hmm. When I walked in, like I was able to feel instantly comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
once you have that connection and people are like, "Oh my God, you're back! I can see you again." And
yeah.
You're like, "Oh my God!" Like,
and there's people that remember your name that you don't remember. You know, people that are so glad that you just come back. You know, it's a great feeling because at the same time with you, they know that it's scary. They know that you're going through a lot through these auditions, and just being able to come back and be appreciated and see how much you improve from camp to camp. And at the same time, just get to talk to all of these people that you've never met before, but you just somehow happen to get along with really well. You know, it's crazy. Yeah, I remember back when I first came to my very first combined camp. I met a guy named I think it was Luke Hahn.
Yeah, you told me. I was like, "Who is that?"
Yeah. And we were just like we never, you know, we were both auditioning for the Cadets, you know. He hasn't marched at that point. I haven't marched, and I ended up going to C2, and I never like heard from him again. Then I realized, oh crap, he's marching cadets.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was friends with a cadet before either of us were even cadets, and I was like, oh what? And even so, like after like 2 years after that, I'd see him again, and I'd be like, what's up, man? You know, we literally spent one weekend together.
Yeah,
2 years ago.
It's really bizarre because when I went back, I was like, I know everyone in C-Pit.
Yeah, everyone knows who you are. You're not even in C-Pit, you know?
And that's honestly been since 16.
Yeah.
Like after 15, like people from C2 went to C-Pit, and I still knew who people were. It was just like it gradually became more and more because before it was like 1 or 2, and now it's like three to 5, and now it's like the entire C-Pit. Like I know everybody.
It's a family. It is a big, loving, tough on you when it needs to be, tough on you sometimes when it doesn't need to be family. You know, you learn so much just from being in it, being a part of it, and meeting all of these people, and it sticks with you for years.
I completely agree with that. It's those that suffer together bond, I think is the phrase that I've heard a lot. And I mean, I still see people that I've marched with. Like they're some of my best friends. We don't talk a whole lot. Like we don't like chat each other or text each other. But when we see each other, or we do end up messaging each other and saying, you know, happy birthday, or we see a post on Facebook, like it's like no time has passed. Like we're still the same goofy, fun-loving family that we've always been. And I think the vlogging system, the Cadets Drumline video series, everything that we've done to document these sort of things just helps remember and keep those friendships relevant and fresh, and remembering, you know, what has happened and what has made this family atmosphere. And again, I think that's another sharing point for doing these sorts of things, that people kind of get to see that, and that plot element throughout all of it. And I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of that from you guys coming soon. And I think anything else to add, just kind of random things before we open it up to the audience members for questions?
I don't really have anything, honestly.
No, I think we're good. Yeah, I think we can go ahead and ask the audience or have.
All right, so let's head on over. If you've got questions, people, now would be the time to type them into the comments section. So I am here. Let's see. We've got someone, Boxing Fred. He was a big follower in 2015. I remember all of his comments. So hello. He says hello.
Yeah, I haven't.
Steven
says, this is so cool. And
you're cool, Steven.
Shelby just sent a smiley face. So
we're doing good so far.
So far, so good. I'm gonna wait a few more seconds because there's a slight delay on when I've been doing these things. So we're gonna see if any more questions come through. So in the meantime, this is the cadet mellophone thing that I have to ask. Gentlemen, what is your middle names? We have to know. we asked Jay Bocook back in the day. His middle name is Alexander, for everybody that may not have known that. James Alexander Bocook. So let me hear the middle names, and then we'll get to my embarrassing middle name because it's not really great. I love it, but it's just unique.
Unique. Okay. Bobby, you want to go first?
Well, I'm just going to say my full name because my full name has like a lot of meaning. So my full name is Robert William St. Aubin D'Amato.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. I'm just first like hearing this. What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my real name is Robert because that's the nickname for Bobby. I don't really know where William came from. I think it's just my parents like that name.
Okay.
St. Aubin's my mom's maiden last name, and then D'Amato's my dad's last name.
Okay. All right. That's a name.
I'm the only one that carries my mom's maiden last name.
Really?
That's why my name is incredibly long.
I had no idea.
It's one letter too long for my license.
Wow. Wow, that is I learned something new about Bobby today. And I thought I knew everything about Bobby. That's really interesting. Mm-hmm. So Williams.
Yeah.
And then
William is my Will I Am.
Will I Am.
Mm-hmm.
Will I Am.
Trying to plug your new album.
Yep.
I see.
It's pretty fire.
Yeah. So my middle name is David. So you got
I didn't know that.
Well, all that like set up over here, and it's just like David.
Yep, Zachary David Covert. That's from my grandfather, whose name is David. Mm-hmm. And yeah.
Yeah, I am my mom's dad. We act literally the same. No, because I'm named after him. Don't be weird, guys.
I had like a really confused look. I was like, is that possible?
Yeah, I went back in time. No, I'm named after my mom's dad, and I act just like him, which is insane.
Okay.
Just like, that's what my dad would do. I'm like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
What's your middle name?
Okay, so my middle name is Zebulon. No joke. Rocky Zebulon Ankeny is my full name, and it was actually my step-great-grandfather's first name, and that's how that happened. It's also one of the 12 tribes of Israel, but it's misspelled slightly in my middle name. Instead of a U, it's an O, and that's just kind of how that goes. And people will never guess it. And before I got my driver's license, no one in school believed me. They all thought I was like liars, and I'd go up to the teacher like, "Can I see the roll really quick? Let me just borrow the roll."
That's insane.
And so that was that.
That's a middle name and a half. Like, wow. Wow.
I was waiting for a
If I
joke.
have a son, if I ever have a son, I'm going to pass it on to him.
But make his first and middle name?
Zebulon 2.
Zebulon Jr.
Zebulon the sequel. Yeah. We got it. We have a question. We do have a question here. Also, I'm surprised we're still live streaming because my computer I think it overheated just now. Way to go. Remember our conversation about Macs? Well, I may be changing my mind. This is good, though, because I called in from my phone because it has a better camera. So it's all working out. Although I don't see my face anymore on the stream. Oh, well, you guys don't need to see it. You've seen enough of it over the years. The question is, there are a lot of drum corps vlogs from a guy's perspective. Will you be guys interviewing some girls to get their perspective?
Oh, yeah. Of course.
Yeah, why not everybody?
Happens a lot. One of them, which you're going to see a lot in the series, of course, this series, if you don't know already, since I'm in the pit, it's kind of like a new kind of perspective coming from the front ensemble's point of view. And I feel like it's a really great point of view because there are a lot of points where, say, for example, the front ensemble is, say, waiting for something to get done in backfield. It doesn't necessarily pertain to them. Mm-hmm. And since we're in front of everything, literally all I have to do to get your favorite section is take my camera and turn it around, and I have everything on the field being captured. That being said, I do plan to include all of the sections, a person from each one at least, and even some friends from the pit. We have Cody Miles, which you can follow her on Twitter. I don't know her handle right now. She's pretty big on Twitter. She's marching vibraphone with me, and she's awesome. She's in the series a lot. She has a lot to say. There's also Caitlin Manasco, who is doing the she's our section leader in the pit, and you get to see a lot from her. There's also several other women in the pit that you get to see, and I'm starting to make a lot more friends in cadets. So as of now, I can't really say exactly who all of the characters you're going to be seeing and getting interviews from, but I do plan on making sure that everyone gets a say. You know, every perspective gets a say in what's going on. That's a big thing. It helps progress the story really well.
Yeah, that's not even mentioning the members that you already are friends with from C2 that bumped up to cadets.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, let's see. If I do this to the switch, oh, it does switch back over to me. Okay, hello everybody. So let's see. Trying to see if we've got any more questions. And normally I would say, gentlemen, you got any questions for the audience, but they can't really respond back promptly. I don't think we have any more questions. Any final thoughts, fellas?
We're just, we're really grateful to, have the opportunity, first of all, having your vlogs there, like really like kind of, it gave us the opportunity to say, you know what, like we could also do this,